So today we're going to dive into a really powerful, maybe even radical idea, inherent wholeness. It's a concept that pretty much goes against a belief most of us have carried around our entire lives, the deep-seated feeling that there's something fundamentally wrong with us. I mean, let me just ask you this straight up. Do you ever feel like your life is just one big project, and that project is fixing yourself? Yeah. If that hits home, you are definitely not alone. Our entire culture is kind of built on this idea.
You know, from the moment we're born, we're constantly being measured, guided, corrected. And a lot of that is good. It's necessary. But it often comes with this quiet underlying message that your natural state is somehow flawed, and you have to earn your worth by constantly improving. That little whisper eventually becomes the background noise of our lives, a full-blown chorus. And we all know what this great wound feels like, right? It's that nagging voice that says you're not smart enough, not successful enough, not even spiritual enough. It's the shame that we carry around about our mistakes. It's that deep anxiety that maybe we're just fundamentally broken. So we get stuck on this hamster wheel of self-improvement, not because it's fun, but because we feel like we're a fixer-upper in desperate need of repair.
Okay, but what if that entire premise, the very foundation of all that striving, is just wrong? What if that feeling of being broken isn't actually the truth of who you are? This is where we get to a really radical, foundational realization. Just let that sink in for a second. There is nothing wrong with you. Now, this isn't about pretending we don't have flaws or that we don't make mistakes. Of course we do. This is about questioning the very root of our self-criticism. And let's be super clear here. This is not some cheesy, feel-good platitude you're supposed to stick on your bathroom mirror. The source material presents this as a profound homecoming. It's about returning to a truth about yourself that existed long before the anxious, striving part of you ever came online. So how do we even begin to wrap our minds around this? Well, let's explore the first big idea here using a really powerful metaphor. You are the sky, not the storm. This is all about understanding your true essence. So what is essence? Think of it as your core, that fundamental, aware space inside you that experiences everything. All your thoughts, your feelings, your memories. It's the part of you that's unchanging. It was there before your biggest success and your worst failure. It's like the silent, steady background of your constantly changing life. And this is where the metaphor really clicks. All our experiences, our thoughts, emotions, our personal history, they're like the weather. One day it's sunny, the next it's a hurricane. It can get loud, turbulent, and it's always changing. But your essence, your true nature, that's the sky itself. It's vast, it's open, and it is fundamentally untouched and unharmed by any storm that passes through it. And right here, this is where all our suffering comes from. It's a simple case of mistaken identity. We believe we are the storm. We think we are the anxiety, are the anger, are the sadness. We completely forget that we are the vast, peaceful sky that is holding it all. Now, of course, this doesn't mean we just ignore our pain and pretend the storm isn't happening. That brings us to our second big idea, the garden, not the weeds. This is about learning how to tend to the very real challenges of being human without jumping to the conclusion that we're fundamentally flawed. And this distinction is so important. Acknowledging your wholeness is not spiritual bypassing. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about separating your essential worth from your actions and your experiences. You can absolutely make mistakes. You can feel pain. You can carry trauma. But none of that means that you, at your core, are a mistake. The garden metaphor just makes this crystal clear. Our bad habits, our traumas, all the harsh criticisms we've internalized, those are the weeds. They're real, and yeah, they need to be tended to, but they are not the soil. Your being, your essential worth, that's the rich, fertile, life-giving soil itself. And that soil is always fundamentally good, no matter how many weeds pop up. So instead of looking at our struggles as evidence that we're broken, we can start to see them differently. They're not proof of our flaws. They are the very forge that creates our depth, our wisdom, and our compassion. It's the pressure that turns carbon into a diamond. Okay, this all sounds like a beautiful idea, but how do we actually live it? How do we make it real in our day-to-day lives? That brings us to our third realm, a practical homecoming, all through the practice of presence. Here's a super simple but incredibly powerful practice. Okay, step one. The next time that inner critic, that voice of wrongness, starts talking, just notice it.
Treat it like a cloud passing in the sky. There's that thought again. Step 2, instead of getting lost in your head, drop down into your body. What does it actually feel like? Is there a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach? Just feel it without judging it. Breathe into it. And finally, step 3, ask this simple question. Who is aware of all this? And in that moment, you shift from being the thought or the feeling to being the silent, peaceful awareness that's simply noticing it. That's home.
You know, when we start to actually live from this place of wholeness, it's not just some private internal shift. It creates a ripple effect that completely changes how we relate to everything and everyone around us. I mean, think about it. When you finally stop fighting that civil war inside yourself, you naturally have so much more compassion for other people. You start to see that their struggles and their difficult behaviors are probably coming from their own feeling of wrongness. The need to compare and compete just kind of dissolves. And your relationships, they stop being about seeking validation and start being about genuinely sharing your life with someone. It fundamentally changes your motivation. You're no longer operating from this place of deficit, trying to fill some hole inside or prove to the world that you're good enough. Instead, your actions can just spring from a place of fullness, of creativity, of genuine generosity. And this absolutely doesn't mean you stop growing or trying to improve, but the quality of that growth is completely different. It's not a frantic, fearful attempt to patch up a sinking ship anymore. It's more like being a capable captain who trusts that their ship is fundamentally seaworthy and is now skillfully and joyfully navigating the adventure of life. So we'll leave you with this question to ponder. Just imagine for a moment, what would actually change in your career, in your relationships, in your day-to-day life, if you truly lived from the deep knowing, not that you have to become whole, but that you already, right now, are?